mean, as you can tell from the footage in front of you, this game is incredibly beautiful, as it is massive and with lots of things to discover in it. Horizon Zero Dawn, where to begin? I really enjoyed my playthrough of this game, and I found myself wanting to play more of it even when I was finished with it, even when the main story was wrapped up. It was a fantastic experience all around. I just wanted more. I suppose I'll start by talking a little bit about the very few gripes I have with the game. Mostly being with inventory management. Things can get quite confusing and a little bit cluttered, which can make things quite difficult from time to time. And on easier difficulties, you do seem to have a surplus of items, just like really helpful items. A lot of crafting items, a lot of medicine. It's very difficult to kill you on those easier settings, but if you crank them up a little bit, the enemies are far more formidable. That's not to say that they're not already really formidable, because they can be quite scary. What you're actually seeing me do here is I'm clearing a camp, while at the same time I'm going to climb that tall neck, and it's sort of like an Assassin's Creed, Far Cry, Ubisoft tower discovery mechanic, where you climb these massive walking beasts and you discover a whole new area of the map. If you haven't discovered an area yet, of course, when you open the map up, it'll just be a fog of war. But you need to find the right location to actually jump onto the tall neck to try and climb it. And this I don't think is the right location. It's no way. It's not even close enough. So I'll start heading through this camp and taking out enemies as methodically as humanly possible. And I am going up against mostly human enemies in this camp. There are a few machines floating around, but nothing too formidable in this particular camp. But some of the machines that just come out of nowhere in this game, and there are so many. Like I'd probably played maybe 30 hours odd, maybe 30 to 40 hours odd, and there's still one machine I'm yet to discover left in my notebook. But just at every corner, something new and with a whole new way of defeating it appeared in front of me, and it kept everything really fresh, and it kept everything really interesting. You play as someone called Aloy. As you can see, she's running around at the moment. And she's an excellent main character. Her sort of bond to this story is her trying to figure out who her mother is and where all these machines came from and what happened to the previous civilization that once controlled the Earth. So she's a very curious character. And she is really interesting to watch. It's quite good to see her development from a young girl into a grown woman, and the sort of trials and tribulations that she has to go through. Is very, very well told story by Guerrilla Games, and it's great to see them doing something different. I mean, they're the people behind Killzone and that franchise, which is a first-person shooter, which is this is some bad shooting from me. Yeah, which is a first-person shooter. So this is a pretty big step for them, I reckon. You know, a different genre of game. A completely different sort of world and environment, and a whole new set of mechanics that they had to deal with, and I think they've done a great job coming up against stuff like that. And I mean, it's not like we haven't played a third-person action game before, and this is exactly what that is. But they've managed to add some fresh little mechanics, and they've been able to bring back like these really epic boss fights from like a 64 generation, you know, where you're like really slogging away at one really epic machine, and you've got to try and hit all of its weak points and wait for that opportune moment to strike, and you get this real like guttural satisfaction from actually completing quests like that and defeating enemies like that. So now I've actually managed to, I think I've found the location of where I can actually jump onto the tall neck. And this is her using her focus. So see, I'm scanning the enemies to see what their weaknesses are and try and see where their weak points are to make them a little bit easier to destroy. That particular machine is, well, it can be really difficult to get rid of sometimes, or I've just been spotted by the entire camp. So things can go wrong very quickly. They do sometimes they take quite some time to actually recognize that you're there. I'm sort of being a little bit of a sook here and sort of hiding from all the enemies, because there's quite a few of them. When you do get ganged up on as well, it's very, very tough. She can die really quickly, but as I said before, if you've got a surplus of medicine, you've got a surplus of potions and stuff like that, it can be pretty easy to get around sort of this many guards. Yeah. Now, I am sort of a PC orientated player. If you've seen any of our other stuff here on CHG, you would see us playing a lot of PC games. So I am atrocious with a controller, but it didn't seem to ruin my fun. If anything, it almost sort of reminded me of a sort of a previous time when I used to play PlayStation 2 and Nintendo 64 quite a bit, and Xbox 360, and these really story-driven experiences that had nothing to do with sort of a competitive element. It was just like, here's a beautiful world for you to run around in, here's an excellent story for you to enjoy and for you to really feel immersed in. And it had been sort of a little while since I'd done something like that, and it's good to see games like Uncharted and Tomb Raider and this and many other games that are just sort of keeping those really story-driven experiences going in video games. I mean, that's not to say we don't get a flop every now and then, and we do, but this is most definitely not that. This is so much fun, and it's just such a beautiful world to explore. Now, it is a pretty big map, so you will do some walking around, but you can, as you saw at the start of this particular clip, you saw me riding on a Strider, so you can override some of the machines. Look at the size of the map, just insane. So yeah, overriding machines and taking them over and then actually riding them across the map's a really great way of getting around. It's actually pretty fun as well, and they can help you in combat quite a bit if you get a few of them on your side. And you can eventually gain the ability to override all of the machines in the game and turn them into your friend at will, which can get you out of some tight situations. But if you get spotted before you get close enough to override them, things can go wrong very fast. And this is what I'm talking about here with the inventory slots. So I've got all these bags. They're like sort of like loot boxes, and they have a bunch of stuff in them, and you can just crack them open and get some extra resources. But see here, I've just got like a bunch of stuff, no real ability to sort them from, crafting items, from just items that is used to sell to merchants and things of that nature. So things can get a little bit confusing there. It'd be better if they had some sort of sorting mechanic to really sort of flesh that aspect of the game out. I'm just smashing through all of them, trying to open them all up. But yeah, so overriding beasts is definitely one of the core mechanics in the game. It's a lot of fun, and it can turn the tide of a fight very, very, very quickly, particularly if you have the combat override skill. In terms of the leveling and the skill system, it's pretty straightforward. That there are three play styles: stealth, brave, and gatherer. And you're not supposed to sort of pick one path and just stick to it. It's pretty clear that I put all of my points into stealth. I prefer stealth playthroughs, but I did mix them up. I definitely had quite a few of the gathering ones because it's handy, as well as some of the brave effects, which are very, very helpful as well. So it's good to mix it up and have a nice balance, but you will find yourself sort of favouring one sort of play style to another, but that you will definitely be mixing them up in the process of doing that. And I mean, just look at this. You've just got so many different biomes as well. You've got desert, you've got deep, thick, lush green forest, and you've got these beautiful snow-peppered mountains. And as much as they are machines, the machines seem to blend into the world really seamlessly, and I think that was really important for the developer to do that, just to make it feel as though that they're supposed to be there. They don't look out of place. They look very much so as they're supposed to be there, and that was really, really, really nice, and it just made the whole thing seem believable, and you get pulled into this world very, very quickly, and you find yourself believing in it. All in all, Horizon Zero Dawn blew me away. I was blown away with its beautiful landscapes, its interesting story, its impactful side missions, its deep and involved character development, and the way it managed to have me just wanting to do one more mission, you know, going to bed at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, just like really drawn into this beautiful game. Look, if you're looking for an excuse to get a PS4 or you already have one, this is the one you should get. This is an excellent title for the PS4. Guerrilla Games have done an absolutely incredible job of putting it together. I would strongly recommend it. It's not for everyone, but I think this is one that you should have in your collection. Feel free to subscribe to us now, and for all your gaming needs, you can find us here on CHG.